you. What in the absolute hell is going on, Americans? Jericho Green here with you once again on my AM commute. And don't worry, I will use plenty of this common sense KY on this uncircumcised commentary before I slide it into your ear hole slowly. Now, yesterday, our waste of space, aka Congress, passed an anti-hate resolution. What the fuck does that mean? Well, one part of the new sexy diverse freshman class of Congress folk, Ilhan Omar, let her anti-Semitism show once again, accusing members of our government of having dual loyalties between here and Israel. Accusing them of being double agents, basically. This isn't the first time she has shown this. But judging by the way they handle it, it will not be the last. Now, as I've said in another video, Ilhan Omar is draped in 3 layers of protection and you cannot touch her. She's a woman, she's colored, and she's a Muslim. The Teflon Don. You can't lay a hand on her. They won't even try. So originally, this anti-hate legislation, or resolution, which is so fucking who's not anti-hate other than those Democratic assholes? But originally, it was specifically supposed to be aimed at her and anti-Semitic language and rhetoric. But of course, in this age of PC, they don't want to piss anybody off. They don't want to hurt her feelings. So they expanded it to include racism, just, general run-of-the-mill racism. Because they got to throw white folks in there. Those are the sole owners of racism in this country. And they had to throw in some anti-Muslim, some anti-Islamophobic shit in there too, saying that, hate crimes against Muslims are on the rise. Shut the fuck up. And then they had to throw in some language in there, to also to be against political language that's weaponized. They had to throw Trump in there too. They had to throw a little jab at Trump. Their TDS is terminal. There's no saving them. And a lot of, it was 407 that voted for, 23 against. And of course they had to highlight, here's a list of the 23 all Republicans who voted against it. Now on its face, you glance at that, and if you're not as smart as you should be, you would say, man, why would anybody vote against an anti-hate resolution? That just makes sense, right? Hate is bad, puppies are cute. But the reason they voted against, or at least the ones that I read about, there were a few of them that commented, they were saying, it's a fucking sham. This is ridiculous. What a waste of time. Anti-hate resolution that didn't even target the person who started this whole waste of time in the first place? Why is this necessary? Why not pull that bitch to the side and say, hey, shut the fuck up, stop saying all this anti-Jew shit, and get your ass to work? Anti-hate resolution, you guys took time in the House of Representatives, you took time to pass this horse shit? There aren't other things you could have been concentrating on than some anti-hate resolution that didn't even target the fool that started it all. But it's all inclusive. You got to include everybody. Why does that even need to be said? Here's a news flash, you bunch of overpaid, out of control assholes. Come in tight. Most people don't hate people based on their religion or what they look like. Most people base their hate of other people on what they do to them or what they've done to other people. This is anti-hate. Who's not anti-hate? They're pro-hate, especially if you don't read from that fucking Democrat script. And of course, Pelosi, there was a picture of her with some ashes on her forehead from Ash Wednesday. I really don't think that was ash. I think the priest just tried to put his finger against her forehead, and being that she's a resident of hell, she's an escaped demon, it just burned her skin. He put a little holy water on his thumb and it burned her skin. That's what I think happened. But her old geriatric ass up there got up there and said that, well, I don't think she meant it to be, her comments, she didn't mean them to be anti-Semitic. I think she didn't realize how these comments would land on people, the weight it would have on people. Bitch, shut the fuck up. If she had an aura next to her name instead of a D, you and the other half, to combine Shalosi, would have been up there condemning her, saying how racist Democrats are and how this is a direct function of Trump's America. This is a derivative of the hateful rhetoric coming from the White House or some shit like that. But she can get away with saying shit like that because she's behind those 3 layers of protection. Why don't you guys pass some anti-corruption resolutions? Some I've been in this seat too long and we need term limits resolutions. How about you pass some, I've been focusing so much on Trump that I've been abandoning and ignoring my district resolutions. Why don't you pass that shit? Why don't you pass I'm sorry, America, that we've been wasting all your time, tax money, and give a shit on this bullshit Russia collusion investigation resolutions? Why don't you pass some pro-family resolutions, some anti-abortion resolutions, some choice resolutions for parents to send their kids to better schools? Why don't you pass that shit? Why don't you pass some pro-Second Amendment and First Amendment resolutions? Why don't you break up these fucking tech monopolies? You guys have so many other things you can be doing than concentrating on some shit that we already know about. Hate and racism is bad. Duh. Racism is a minuscule blip on our radar of life. And that goes for anybody, colored or not. Racism is not a fucking issue. The only racism I've ever ran into are from people from your side of the aisle, from your party. Other than that, racism is not an issue for people. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, whatever the fuck that stupid ass. Man, where did that come from? No one has an irrational fear of Muslims. Any fear we have of Muslims, pretty rational. Now, of course, not all of them. I'm talking about the bad ones, the bad hombres. But for you to sit up there and dilute and sugarcoat this fucking ridiculous resolution, you shouldn't even have to vote on a resolution. It's like when you're at work and they call a meeting for everybody when only 3 motherfuckers were doing something wrong. Pull those dumbasses aside. Why are you wasting my time telling me some shit I already know and I don't even do that? It's fucking crooked. Take that shit back. Use that resolution on something that needs to be resolved. I don't trust her anyway, and I'm standing by it. I don't give a shit what anybody says. When you wear your religion literally on your sleeve and on your head, you're telling me that's the most important thing to you. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Are men not most dominant in the Muslim religion? So you mean to tell me there's not some man, some imam telling her what she needs to do to execute their fucking plan? You come from Somalia as a refugee here, a country that hates us. You come from an area that is the #1 terrorist recruitment center in America. Is this not adding up? Is no one else seeing this shit? We need to rub our eyes and get the liberal crust out of them. These liberal eye boogers that are clouding our vision. Why do we not see this? And she won't get voted out because the people that vote for her are just like her. Maybe, she would have to like dress up in a Nazi outfit and say some shit about Jewish people to get reprimanded. She's going to have to go above and beyond. They're not going to do anything to her. She's the right color. She's the right gender, and she's the right religion. They ain't going to do shit except continue to waste our fucking time on anti-hate resolutions. Man, please. Now let me jump my ass in this rat race so I can go engage in commerce. But people, you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Fuck you, Twitter. Utilize the PayPal link in the description box below. And people, if you do donate, please leave me an email so I can write you back and say, Donka. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.